I'm sorry about this. That could not be helped, but I had to restart my router because I was dropping so many frames. So I don't know if we're gonna be calling this part part 6 or if it's just part 5B, but this is still on this. We're being recorded on the same night as part 5. Uh, whether I call it part 5A or just plain part 5, well, I don't know. But let's continue where I left off then. I'm sorry that I had to do it that way, but this is the only thing I could think of to try to bring it back to being more stable. But anyway, Dark, that's all Aurora has when you think about it. And actually, that seems a bit too convenient that he says that, because this makes me think that maybe she's the one who turned off the lights so she could search the place because she's used either that because she's really blind or she's pretending to be in the dark anyway. What would it be like to live in the world of darkness? Hey, Apollo. Huh? What? Damn you internet gods indeed. And come to think of it, hold on. Just a moment, because I didn't have internet for a while, it's not displaying the chat on the stream anymore. Oops. Okay. Yeah, normally anything new that gets typed, it should display. Doesn't something about the stage seem different to you? The platform? Like something's changed? The platform is not raised anymore. If this is what they mean. Changed? I can't put my finger on it, but it's bugging me. Now it's bugging me too. What's she talking about? I'd say the platform. I said can't believe we found Matchy and Mr. Latu's up there. Yeah, I used to not like high places, now I hit them. It's not like it would have been nicer if we found a dead body closer to the ground. Though that reminds me, Daddy's bad with heights too. Huh? No kidding. He took me on a Ferris wheel ride a while ago, you know. Halfway through, his face got all green and he mumbled objection over and over. Poor guy. What do they mean something is different with the scene? They're talking about the platform as if it's still there, but it's not. Look at all the electronics. They must be sound related. Doesn't seeing a bunch of machines like this make you want to just fiddle with them? Can I, Apollo, please? No, no fiddling, you'll break something. If you're going to make an omelette, you gotta break some eggs. That's what Daddy always says. These eggs look kind of expensive. Hey, that case, wasn't that open before? Ah, maybe that's what's changed. Huh, I guess someone closed it. Wait, look, where the case closes. Something is sticking out. That doesn't look like an instrument. You don't think it's... Let's open it, Polo. Huh? Huh? What? Eek! La miroir! La miroir! Emma! We have to get Emma! La miroir was taken directly to the hospital. Emma ran around, barking orders, making phone calls. Tracy just clung to my arm and cried. And me, I was still in shock. 2 bodies in 2 days is too many. Hickfield Clinic. Waiting room. Emma, how's La miroir? Is she okay? Ah, you. We all owe you a big thanks, that's for sure. So, she's okay? Yes, she came to a short while ago. You found her before it was too late. That's good to hear. So what happened? Someone attacked her. She was struck on the forehead. By who? We don't know. But they hit her on the forehead, right? That's right in front of her. How could she not see? Oh. Right. Would you like to see her now? Is that alright? She wants to thank you for saving her life. La miroir. Ah, Mr. Attorney, you were the one who found me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm just glad you're okay. Tell me, what happened? Attacked. It was after I spoke with you in front of the dressing room. I sensed someone approaching. I thought it might be someone come to see me, but they said nothing. When I went to return to my dressing room, you were hit? I knew that very moment. I knew. The assailant was trying to kill me. Ah! It was lucky for me the first blow did not knock me out. I turned and ran for the stage. Someone was chasing me, I could hear footsteps. Yet I reached the stage first. Why the stage? I had overheard maintenance people talking. The power to the stage area was off, they said, for electrical work. Darkness is my ally. There was a contrabass case near the stage. That is where I hid. Oh, so she wasn't stuffed inside. She hid herself inside. So the assailant couldn't see you. Once in the case, I'm afraid I passed out. Wow, that sounds like a really close call. Do you have any idea who it might have been? Unfortunately, no. Whoever it was, they said not a word. Too bad. Yet when I considered that I was struck high on the forehead, I must conclude that whoever hit me was taller than I am. Yeah, good point. She's short, yeah. And you're much taller than I am. You're about as tall as Apollo. So that means it was likely an adult and probably a man. Could it be him? But why would anyone attack you, Lamar? The detective asked me this too. And to her, I gave the same answer I give you. I do not know. And I know that magician is fishy enough to me. And he's tall. He's really tall. Because the rock star, like Darian, seems too obvious. It does sound like someone is trying to frame him. Hold on, because I wasn't done here. Quite like that music. A nurse watches hawk-like from the reception desk. She glares at me whenever I talk. Maybe my voice carries? Nah, that's the same description. Ah! That must be a recovering patient. He keeps staring at us. What's so unusual about an attorney and a magician? No clues here. The door down the hall reads X-ray room. I never did like X-rays. I don't think I'd enjoy looking at someone's insides. Spotting nervous ticks is tense enough. Nervous ticks. Some visitors are here in the waiting room watching TV. Murder during a concert at Sunshine Coliseum. Looks like we're on the news. With his current hit song, Guilty Love is in the courtroom as a prosecutor, singing the defendant all the way to death row. Prosecutor giving this, prosecutor giving that. Where's my 15 minutes? The Guitar Serenade, on sale now. Okay, present something to her, because the fact that I only got to ask her 2 questions seemed weird. Seemed really weird. Yeah, I should probably show her this. Lamiroir, I wanted to ask you about this. Do you know what this is? This is what? Mr. Latouze was carrying it. It's a replica of the thing he was after. He was after? You know, in a secret identity. As an undercover agent. So that's what he was doing. You mean you know what? Yes, I know, of course. This must be a Borginian cocoon. Or rather, a convincing replica thereof. Why haven't I heard of a Borginian cocoon before? Why would he be carrying this around? Was it some kind of souvenir? I wonder. I bet she's gonna talk about it if I talk to her. I'm sorry, I'm not quite recovered from the attack. She looks like she's had a rough day. I'll just put this piece of evidence away for later. Borginian newspaper. Yeah, well, she can't see it, so showing it to her wouldn't have done much good, I suppose. Yeah, that's probably everything. But now I can ask her about the Borginian cocoon. Well, they call it Borginian. It must only be found in Borginia. For certain, all in Borginia know about these. It's a cocoon, so do you get silk from it? I do not know the details, I am sorry to say. I thought she said all in Borginia knew of these. There is one fact I do know about the cocoon though. Something all in Borginia know. What's that? The cocoons. They are not to be taken out of the country. If someone does and is caught, they will be put to death. To death? That sounds a little extreme. Why? I do not know, yet if Interpol was involved, I'm sure there is a good reason. But this is just a piece of plastic. He was carrying a replica, but looking for the real deal. That's my best guess. So that's what he was up to, tracking down Borginian cocoon smuggling. Smuggling. It seems I was marked. Marked? Life changed for me with the popularity of my songs. I began to travel around the world. Ah, so you could have brought those Borginian cocoons with you. On my trips, yes, that was probably the suspicion, and Mr. Latouche was placed as an undercover agent to look into it. Borginia is a small, sheltered country. Not many of our people venture into the world outside. Is that why they suspected you? But Mr. Latouche wasn't a Borginian, was he? He was an Interpol agent, which means... What, Apollo? Well, there must have been some reason other countries didn't want the cocoons out. Something scary enough to get Interpol involved. Huh? Like what? How could such a tiny ball of thread cause such a commotion? Cocoon smuggling. And Mr. Latouche had Lemuroir marked. It couldn't be her. Huh? There's one other person I need to talk to. Thank you for talking to us, Lemuroir. It was the least I could do. Actually, I have another request. If it is within my power, I need an interpreter, someone who speaks Borginian. Apollo? Would you come with us, if you're well enough? I see. Yes, of course. I shall accompany you. Huh? Where are we going? Come on, Trucy, we're about to get to the bottom of this. The detention center, of course. Machi, we came to talk to you about the case. Machi? Could you interpret for us, Lemuroir? Yes. Machi, I'd like to talk to you about when we first met. When we still thought you were blind. Now we know the truth. You can see, right? I was completely fooled myself. Machi, isn't there another secret you're hiding from us? Wait, Mr. Attorney. What do you mean by secret? What do I mean by secret? Well... if I'm not mistaken, you know something about this, don't you? Heh. Hey, you got a reaction, a big one. Machi, you didn't. Trucy and I are trained to see people's uncertainty. Not that we would have needed any training to see that one. Mr. Attorney, please tell me what this is all about. Lemuroir, please interpret. Very well. I know you know something about this by your reaction. If you won't tell me, I might have to give it to the prosecution and have them look into it. He asks you to wait, do not be so hasty. Machi, he understands English well enough, I suppose. Goat, thing, Metroid, Scarab, arrow, thing, Scarab, arrow. Do you know everything? Yes, everything. Well, sort of. Have him tell us about it. Scissors, wavy things, fish, leaf. No, okay, never mind. Very well. What all of that meant very well? The cocoon. What is this cocoon anyway? Well, you put it in a swimming pool, and then when old people go and swim into it, it gives them their youth back again. The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. A cure? Must cure some disease. It's a cure for incuritis. A cure for incuritis. Replica updated in the court record. But if it's a cure, why keep it in Borginia like that? Just think of all the lives they could save by sharing the medicine. I do not understand the reasons myself. Okay, well at least we know what it is, a cure. And Mr. Latouche was after cocoon smugglers. Wait, was Machi... Machi, you weren't. Couldn't be a smuggler, he's so little. Well, you're only 15 and you're a sort of a magician, aren't you? Well, that's true, I am sort of a magician. She said sort of. Oh, to have a copy of that security camera tape. Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. First he plays blind, now he plays dumb. I wonder, do you think he brought a cocoon here to sell it to someone? If Machi really did bring one into the country, was he planning on making a deal for its sale? I can't go home. Can't go home? I can't go home to Borginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Borginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. About the case. What about the case? He wants to tell us about Miss Solituz's death. The meeting's over. Darian! What do you mean? Visiting hours aren't over yet? There's a call for Machi from the Borginian embassy. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy. We're leaving. Darian, wait! I never liked you, either of you. Huh? Huh? Darn it, we were so close. He was about to tell us. Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Machi had to say. Apollo! And there can be only one reason why. Why is everyone ignoring me? Oh, sorry. This is it. I know who I'm after now. It all happens tomorrow, in court. It sounds too convenient. Like it wasn't really the embassy, he just didn't want them to talk to us about it. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over, sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes, we can call him back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy. We're leaving. Diane, wait! I never liked you, either of you. Huh? Darn it, we were so close, he was about to tell us. Hey, Apollo. Yeah, right. That happened like... Making a flashback of what happened like 30 seconds ago sounds hardly necessary, but okay. And I think I know why. Time to bring down the little justice. Bang! Gunshot? What was that? He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking? Valen Grammary. Using the door like an average muggle, no less. Muggle? They said muggle? Like a Harry Potter muggle? What the heck? Ace Attorney, referencing Harry Potter. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valent? A preposterous proposition. How could I stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Oh, with vanishing magic. Indeed, I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? Muggle is just a regular word for not necessarily from Harry Potter, but that's the first time I've heard it outside of Harry Potter. And hi, Chuck X, by the way. Hi there. I had never heard it outside of Harry Potter myself. A grand grammary glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. A glamour? A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell. And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. I've heard it a few times. It's not a super common word though. Ah, okay, well, fair enough. I feel better about myself then, for not hearing it before. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things. Or they have a tower, anything really, blah blah blah. Yeah, she talks just so quickly. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Number was disappearing act. And prosecutor gave his exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time, shall we go? Ah, excuse me, sir. Yes? Scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first? Was by the judge's request, some urgent personal business. Great, I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son. Oh, that's right. Remember yesterday morning, the judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper, if you care to read about it yourself. What's that have to do with the case at hand, I wonder? Incurious. Where have I heard that before? Wait, that's what the son of the Chief of Justice has? I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV guide page to me. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. Ahem, my apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say this name again? Machitobaye. I am not sure if this is how it's pronounced either, but that's how I choose to pronounce it anyway. Our suspect fortissimo. Right, in his trial in any case. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No, well, yes, it's just I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. Think you got it? Yeah, I think I got it too. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. The name, that is. Yeah. Incurious, was it? That article said there is no known cure. Herr Judge, let me say with all honesty I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law! Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday. I asked Interpol about that number. IPXX 314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouze. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Hold it! Wait! That voice just now. It was him. I am sure of it. It was him? That voice I heard, talking to Mr. Latouze, when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him! It was Mr. Darien! No way! Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Darien would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please, tell the court your findings. Darien Crescent is a member of my band, the Gaviners. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet after investigation I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Herr Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let us review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Gaviners ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guests took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lamouroir, and Machi, along with a drummer and bassist for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the third set. Lamouroir and the defendant Machi Tobaye had left the stage at that point, and the Gaviners were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Sky, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lamouroir herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime, when she claims to have heard Mr. Latouze and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was... Precisely, Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. I think this has something to do with the earpieces. Because she said that everyone, in the stage staff was wearing one. So she may have heard it over the radio, so to speak. That, or she heard him over the speaker that was inside the lodge. Well, yeah. However you want to name that. Does the defense have anything to add to this? It's true, when I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darian Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged, which means that Lamaror was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections. Uh-oh, Apollo, if he declares a verdict now... but prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lamaror might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait. What about yesterday in the detention center? About the case. What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latuz's death. This meeting's over. How about we put him on the stand? Telling him to tell us about it. What he couldn't tell us about it the day before. And ask Lamaror if she's still around to interpret this time. Machi was trying to tell us something, I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is to ask him under oath. Very well, the court finds the defendant, what was his name again? Objection! Your Honor! No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or Mr. Justice. Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who until now has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean? I do. The defense calls defendant Machi Tobaye to the stand. What? But he doesn't speak English. Well, we'll use an interpreter. Interpreter, I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases such as I love you and where is the toilet? Yeah, a great help that would be indeed. The defense would like to request Lamaror as the interpreter. Lamaror? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. Bravo, Herr Forehead. Herr Judge, that the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lamaror lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamaror to the witness stand. I suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with. If you would, Lamaror. Yes. He says Machi Tobaye, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. What I don't know about Japan, but elsewhere, aren't there laws where you need to be able to understand the proceedings in court for the court ruling to be valid? I mean, you can't really be expected to defend yourself properly if you can't understand what is going on. But anyway, well, Japan, and besides, it's a game, it's not reality, so... Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would. Huh? If I would what, Your Honor? What? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about? What do I want him to testify about? Well... his version of the events. Where was he when Mr. Latuz was killed, for example? I hadn't thought that far yet. Apollo, aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me, a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lamaror? Just now Machi said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something. What could it be? What sort of testimony is he talking about? There is also a possibility that whatever happened after we left the day before, between him and Darian, he might have threatened him to, like, something like if you're declared not guilty, you will go back to your home country and there you will be put to death or something like that. So now we might testify about something that is detrimental to himself in the case, so has to not be killed where he comes from. There's always a possibility. Sorry, but reading out loud makes me parched. What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. The suspense is killing me. What? What? Well, La Miroir, according to Machi, he has proof of his innocence. Ah, oh no, okay. This is not going the way I thought it was going to go then. This is a surprise. Yahoo! Victory, Apollo! We did it! This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. La Miroir, I mean Machi, please testify to the court. Very well. Proof of innocence. He says that word of Mr. Latuz's death came as a great shock, but if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, that is, he could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. That's a fair point. But is that really true that he doesn't understand English? Because we can't really prove that. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof, why he would only have to ask La Miroir to know the meaning of that song. La Miroir, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. As my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead, La Miroir might be protecting the witness. Yeah... It doesn't hold much weight, isn't it? Doesn't it? Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor, something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Proof of innocence. He says that word of Mr. Latuz's death came as a great shock. If there is anywhere where I have to use my bracelet, I think it should be on that last bit, about him not understanding. Yeah, the rest just doesn't have anything in it where he would have lied. If there's a lie, that's where it is. I saw his eyes move behind his glasses. Show me that again. There. Gotcha. Machi, you can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment La Miroir said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh. Before coming to this country, he heard me speak English. He learned the name for this language, that is all. What? Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I am sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple, so simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. Which one? The one that is in Hold on, where was it again? Didn't I have it? I thought I have it. Ah, there it is. Article about the case. It doesn't mention the lyrics of La Miroir's ballad. Aha! Aha! It doesn't mention it. It says it right there. The newspaper. The Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know? They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi's lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. But I just saw it, so... I have here a Borginian newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in the Borginian newspaper. Blah, 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 blah. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. Ah, I know. You must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning, yes. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain herself, or himself. Machi says, he says. Yes. It is true I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lammerwar? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Then it looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. Ah, give me a break. You're lying. Seems so, yes. No, I was onto something. I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Hold on a minute. I mean, he concealed the fact that he could actually see before, so. What are you going to do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet's still reacting. She's lying. Then. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. If you must. You must. Very well, witness. I understand. She's the one lying. And so, it must show. Her throat. Right there. Right there. There was something with her throat. I saw it. She swallowed or something. She's doing the same thing that she was doing before. There. That thing. Gotcha. Lammerwar, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lammerwar, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lammerwar, you're protecting, well, Machi, obviously. You are protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it, really. I trust you, but you've lied to us twice, and now you have Lammerwar lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English, you have to. Ah! Okay, I got you broken. Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lammerwar? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? This is last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those two gunshots, correct? Apparently, the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk. Manager, he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there is voice. Voice or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Latouze had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up, I take off, run away, run away. So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has held all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor. Already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say. I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's climbed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness? Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait, no, of course there is. What is this cocoon anyway? The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. A cure? Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. And with the son of the... Justice guy or whatever. Machi, please, tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Hair Forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. This is not going my way. Apollo, use this. Use this. That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get home. Maybe he doesn't want to, remember? Believe, I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latouze was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it. Suddenly I hear revolver. Close, very close. Then I hear voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true. I hear revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room? And found Mr. Latouze already dead, and then you heard shots? If that's true. So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots, and you escaped through the air vent. Maybe the shots we heard were not actually from the gun. Maybe that happened at a different time then. The moment of the murder might not have been when we thought it was. Huh, what do you know? I know if I opening vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Huh? Yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hole or something. I hear this from Magician. Magician? Don't look at me! A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouze. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's going to go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says. Even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard him every time. So, what do we do? You're sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking, no! Well, it was worth a shot. That cocoon. I can't go home. Can't go home? I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Virginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. Of course, he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan? If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right. Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So will he testify? Your Honor, the defendant will not testify. What? Shame, and here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. A different angle? If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Le Miroir. Le Miroir? Objection! She already testified. What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Le Miroir's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can't... Le Miroir was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Assaulted? Someone wanted Le Miroir dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've heard no such report. Prosecutor gave in. Why would anyone be out to kill Le Miroir? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country, a singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think? I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouze. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday, something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So, am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Le Miroir's testimony? A nugget we have yet to uncover? Exactly. If Le Miroir was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Le Miroir's testimony once more. I can't read anymore, jeez. Just a sec. Okay. Le Miroir, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darien Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof. Well, if the real gunshots happened at a different time, the window might not necessarily have been closed at that point. Right? And then if something else caused those 2 gunshot sounds, like an igniter for instance, or something like that. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice? I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. And also I find it very convenient that the magician is the one who told Machi about the vents, and that he was probably the one who put the igniters as well, since he was the guy that kind of organized the little show. The little show of magic. I'm wondering if it could be the magician who set him up. I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps a witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court? Of course, Your Honor. What I heard. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouze and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was a smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. Then it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Then it means I have to prove that it is possible. Do I have to repeat myself? Flamawar was attacked because of this testimony. What, Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard Mr. Latuz and the detective. A faint sound of gunshot and stopped. What did you hear exactly? Hold it! Hold it! Darian Crescent. I did not know his name at the time, but yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There is no way you could have heard him, because the window at the scene was closed. Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right, maybe there's a different angle I can try. Well, what? Well, no need is definitely not the right choice. But this, probably. Lemurward, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I have given it much reflection, but I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? Do you remember something that was said? Why did you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it, the clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latuz, the shooter then. Darian Crescent. Well, what did he say? It's over, press the switch, now. It's over, press the switch now? It's over, press the switch now. Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latuz? I thought it quite strange myself afterward. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? I think he might not have necessarily been talking to Mr. Latuz. He might have been talking through his earpiece to whoever was holding the thing. The remote trigger, yeah. He might have been talking over the earpiece to whoever was holding it on stage. Because isn't it on stage that this was found? By the piano or something. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, sure, I'd be delighted. It's, very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe? Apollo? From a small window, I heard a voice say, press the switch now. Well... if we're talking about any switch, it has to be that one. I think that's what they meant. Objection! What he meant. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh, yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But, it just so happens, I have a switch right here. That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. Are you claiming that the voice Lemurwar heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch? It's a possibility. Objection! Oh, Herr Forehead, I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert room. The stage is quite far from Lemurwar's dressing room, not to mention that the Gaviners were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. Detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout, so too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this. Why, that's... What? What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? This is a type of transmitter, a communications device. A communications device? From what I've heard, that everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Ah, yes, actually, therefore talking between band members. We all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. Objection! True, but wait, those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lumberwar said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Ah, exactly, the walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be. So when Lumberwar heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage? Objection! Ha, you're claiming this is the switch in question. Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in the pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hidden on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said press the switch. Well, I guess we don't. An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it. I was sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. We do. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is, and if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning the switch... Your Honor? Yes, Mr. Justice? I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is. What it seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to the case. Let's see your evidence to the link. Or your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is? Sorry. I know it's yeah, this thing. Well, actually, it might... my stylus! Actually, it might not be a bad idea to save here before I show anything. Just in case, but I think this is it. Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this? That's that. That what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying the switch is a remote. I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. And this one is what? Yo. Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. There was one in the guitar, but the one I'm holding was actually found at the scene of the crime. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I had expected. But my whiskers had caught on fire. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote. Ignite. A remote ignite trigger? What? Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance. Wasn't that part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Borginia from La Memoire. Said the sound was amazing before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Air forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice, heard by La Memoire, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouze and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. No, that's not what happened because she was on stage when the guitar burned. She was not backstage. Right? Or did she actually... Wait, well, it all ties in with how she disappeared on stage, perhaps. Because if the way that she was supposed to disappear from the stage and reappear on the other side involved her walking past that window, hidden from sight, then that could have happened at that moment, but... Let me watch the video again. Was she already... Had she already reappeared at that moment? I got something in my eye, it's really annoying. When the guitar caught on fire... She had already reappeared on the other No, she had disappeared at that moment, so it is possible. I had not thought about it that way. I had thought that maybe the remote would have been used twice for the two igniters, the one in the guitar and the one that was in on the crime scene. But actually it might have only been pressed once, come to think of it. Though something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really, it seems pretty simple to me. Here, forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong. What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin? A simple story simply makes no sense. Think, that night my guitar caught fire. Yes, the cause may have been this indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. But she heard it during the second set, during that part of the show when she had disappeared. That's where I'm going to go with this. The guitar caught fire during Lameroir's song. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. Well, that's the thing. During the third set, when the piano guy was in the room and heard the two gunshots, the guy was already on the ground, dying. So this is what I think. It happened during the second set and not the third. The two are utterly unrelated. Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty. Basil faulty? See, his story makes no sense. Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this specifically? I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. Objection! What's this? But Detective Emma Sky heard shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act. Objection! Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony, namely, that the victim had already been shot when we all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames. We know that a remote-triggered igniter was inside the guitar. Have her testify about how the magic trick was supposed to work. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. What? Order! 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 But that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? The crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? Hey, he's right. Look, the bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look, why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it. Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason to try to frame it on the guy. to try to make it seem like it was following the lyrics. Otherwise, why have fake gunshots ring out during the third act at all? Why do that at all? Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose? Reversed? Prosecutor Gavin? If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes, the shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet Herr Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flames. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way. Order! 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 That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second. Objection! I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic. For it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Herr Forehead. One I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. Well, was it during the second set? How do you know that? How could Lammerwire have heard a voice through it? Oh, I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right, Lammerwire's testimony is my entire case, but wasn't she wearing an earpiece? That voice you heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear the polo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch? And near the crime scene we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When a crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how Lammerwire heard a voice? A key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the courts? Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove and one thing only. How was she supposed to disappear anyway? Was she supposed to crawl through the vents, maybe, or something? Where did she disappear to? Because she... If she was inside the vent, then that explains it. Is it possible that she's lying about passing by the window? Because of the fact that she was asked to not reveal how the magic trick was supposed to work? Is it possible that she's being pressured into lying about this by the magician in some way? Because I've already said that I find the magician suspicious already anyway, so... Well, I'm gonna save. But I'm gonna put that theory to the test. Lammerwire heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. Think, how was Lammerwire able to hear the voice? If she was in the vent, that means somewhere else. I just saved, so I don't risk much by trying that out. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either. Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. Ha, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Borginian too. As I was saying, Lammerwire could not hear the voice through that window, so there can be only one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. What's this? Ha ha ha, you do amuse me so, and here I thought you you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now, I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret for you, Air Forehead? Lemurwar clearly stated she heard a voice through that small window, and there is only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is. I mean, more like there is? Ah, I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well, you claim Lemurwar heard a voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Lemurwar heard the voice from here. Oh, I have to show it? Well, there seems to be one here. But I'm not sure if it's this one that I'm supposed to show. Or the other one, the one with the ladder under it. Does this look like a small window to you, Mr. Justice? The state of modern society can be read from numerous objects and artifacts. In a sense, anything can be a window on our society. No, okay, that was not the right one. I have to pick the other one then. That means this one. I can't really point at it. I hope this is gonna be correct. Okay, it seems to be. This is where Lemurwar heard that voice from. But that's no small window. That's the air vent. Oh, come to think of it, she didn't need to be inside. The sound could have carried through the vent and back outside where wherever the air vent comes out at. She did not have to be crawling through it. She said she's a Borginian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lemurwar was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? Well... either she was up there or the voice could have carried through the vent and then back out into whatever other hallway she was into. I mean, it's not entirely impossible. That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical, I do not think this word means what you think it means, Air Forehead. Okay, what about it? What about it isn't logical? Ha! It hardly merits saying. Why would Lemurwar be in the ventilation system? As part of the magic trick? Hiding like a rat, no offense intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gaiman, isn't it, Lemurwar? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed, but why should that mean I could not hear through it? I fear the prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Urgh! The problem here is words. Lemurwar, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room? Not low on the wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What? Order, order! I will have order! Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you in fact saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room, and that's where you heard the moment of the crime? Yes, in fact I was. I am sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure I can't. She promised not to tell. May I remind you, this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please. Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I had heard there was a, small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter. I knew it! I knew it! Bound to secrecy. In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance, so this did happen during the second set. There is only one moment it could have happened at. When she disappeared. What other time could that be? She was in front of the audience the rest of the time. I only know what I heard. Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for, yeah, Air Forehead? Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission. Very well, Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was up above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. Above the ceiling. Hold on. Hold on. No? Oh, okay. I got it wrong. Because it's the only piece of evidence that works. Or maybe here. Ah, there we go. I knew that's what it was. Lumberwar, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear, especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. And then she flies through the air. And now through the air I fly. There's something I'm wondering about. I don't know if they go into such detail. If they let such details matter. But she's still singing at that moment, isn't she? So was it in playback? Or was our voice only recorded for that small section? I wonder now. Because disappearing, going through the vent, with her mic maybe, like continuing to sing as she was passing by, and then the gunshots, I mean, they would have been heard on the mic. I don't think they would go into such details in the game. I don't think it's that accurate. But well, nice video. Well, it's Nintendo DS video, so it's heavily compressed. And no rest to boot. As we can see, Lumberwar was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me not to be so realistic, Lumberwar is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view, and during that time, she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo. What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. Well, he's no magician, and he wasn't told, he just figured it out. But I'm a lawyer, I'm not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There is only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha! He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here, we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage, through the backstage, to the rear of the forum. Recall Lumberwar's testimony from yesterday. It's true that it's also bothering me that the time frame is very short. For a person to go down that vent, it's not exactly very big, so you can't move very fast in it, and even more so the fact that she's blind. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. Saw it, yeah, or heard it more like. She's blind. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lumberwar knew of this because of her part in the illusion, but she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know if I opening vents, I can leave stage and backstage. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the vanishing act, of course, yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. He was not in the confidence. Yeah, she might be lying about that one too. It's true. Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know? Which is why he bound Lammerwar to secrecy. Well, Lammerwar, I am impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you. So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honor? As I said before... There was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds tops. How could she... Yeah, especially if she stops to hear the shooter's voice. That's bugging me too. It's inconveniently obvious that there was not enough time. That's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court? I cannot. Very well, Mr. Justice. It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? You need to explain how Lammerwar was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Ugh. Why do I get picked on? It's Lammerwar who isn't going along with the program here. As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her. Yes, if you would, please. Right, I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. 2 minutes? 2 minutes, you say. The mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lammerwar is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. The time. There is clearly a difference in time. I figured it out already. I'm a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here. The big illusion. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I'm gonna save, but... 2 minutes? Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running. Running in that cramped dark tunnel about the ceiling? Haha, Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. That's true, but it's cramped, nonetheless. So you're saying that on the night of the concert you made the trip in 2 minutes? Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. Lammerwar disappears on the video for 20 seconds. The video was edited, maybe? I mean, the magician is the one who gave me the video, so... If it was him... It is possible that the video was edited, so it's not showing the whole truth. If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer is right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us? Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and our testimony? The video itself, it was edited. And there's the fact... Evidence explaining the discrepancy. The video itself? There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between the video and the testimony. Aha, so this is it, the magical key to unlocking this illusion's dark secret. Tell us how it works, quickly, I can't bear the suspense. I was kind of hoping someone else would jump in at this point. Well, you see, Herr Judge, I do hate to spoil the mood, but I haven't the faintest idea what he's talking about, and neither does he. I am a little confused too there, Apollo. Right, by which I conclude that I was wrong. Better luck next time, Pollywog. Let's suggest this. I'm holding you responsible for spoiling my mood. Ah, it was not the VHS? Well, what is it then? Was that a tear I just saw in the judge's eye? Alright, nothing to do but rethink this through. Key's in the video somewhere, I'm sure of it. What, do I have to press it again to show the evidence? But the thing is in the video. Because the girl said so herself, Trucy. Well, let's move forward to when she disappears, alright? Is it possible? Look at the brooch. She's wearing the brooch here. Does she still have it when she gets to the other side? It's so small, it's hard to tell. But I think she doesn't have it anymore. I think she doesn't have it anymore. Well, hold on. I'm gonna save here just in case it's not the right thing. Lamawar, do you happen to remember this brooch? Ah, I'm onto something. Aha, the brooch. We saw that yesterday, did we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now. Why? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look at the video. She has it here. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch. So she is. Let's look a bit later. She doesn't have it. What? The brooch is gone. What? Yes, the brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds, and it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. The Lammerwar we see before the Vanishing Act and the Lammerwar we see after are two different people. What? That's actually not what I had in mind. The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene, and not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lammerwar, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage at the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. Order! Prosecutor Gavin. From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Herr Judge. I, of course, knew about it. What? Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So I was right. There was a switch. There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lammerwar was replaced. While we're on the subject, just who was this replacement Lammerwar? Why the man behind the illusion? Valent Grommery. It was Grommery? That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, so you were, But this fake Lameroir is still singing, and she's pretty good. Well, you can blend in a sound coming from somewhere other than on the stage. The person on stage could have easily faked the singing and, how do you say, ad-lib? Come on, Apollo. That's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Gaviners aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. She was really singing, but she was singing from somewhere else. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lameroir. Very well. Yes, do tell and add it to your testimony. I had to keep singing even while I moved. Well, that's something that I brought up earlier, actually. You were singing? Yes, Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time, even when you were crawling about the ceiling toward the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing, when everywhere I go is the same darkness? I would argue that the acoustic in the vent is not the same. It should sound like shit, but whatever. But if you were singing while you were walking, that's right, wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all. That is right. Are you sure? You'd have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? Ah, I know what he means. The old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Ah, that's for monitoring the stage from this room. Ah, okay. Well, it's convenient for me because that makes my assumption valid. It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones, useful for knowing when your set is coming up. Satisfied? That distressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage, at my request actually. So Lameroir singing in the ceiling sounded just like Lameroir singing over the speaker. Ingenious, her voice was hidden by her voice. Ah, Lameroir, I have just remembered something. Do tell. When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes, it startled me so you? It stopped singing. I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words. Is that the whoa-whoa? The whoa-whoa thing? Because that sounded out of place to me, actually. Stopped? Thankfully it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead, that mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing? That machine, Apollo, the one that breaks music into tracks. Oh, this, I'd completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen. Is it the whoa whoa thing? Ah, yeah, okay, yeah, there's a little pause, I guess. The song does stop there. There's a pause, yeah, it does. I must have missed it. Look at the lyrics sheet. Ah, yeah, there's a... Ah, yeah, there's a... Is she supposed to say pleasure twice? See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. I did think it was an awkward pause before, but you're a good singer, Rudy. What? No, but there is a point in the song where she... It sounds like she's just making up lyrics because she can't remember them. So I thought that's where it was. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lameroir's ballad. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darian Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Your forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lameroir's testimony. Yes, is there a problem with this? What it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof! All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. The man? You don't mean? Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Darian Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way. As someone with a new perspective on the case, as a suspect to be frank. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. And I'm ready to catch him. Darian Crescent, get ready for justice. This is a good time as any. This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess, and I think this is where I'm going to be stopping the stream today, because this is a good point to be stopping. It's a convenient one. I'm just gonna create a safe restore point here, and we will be back tomorrow night if all goes well and nothing comes to disturb my my plans. And I'll be continuing to play this tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Panda. And you guys take care until next time. See ya.